This is Agott. She has problems. In one of her scenes, Coco gives Agott a beautiful flower, but Agott takes it as an insult and in front of everyone, rejects it and walks away. Why? Why are you like this, Agott? But we do have the answer. It's the greatest villain in anime history, Parenthood. So the question is, how much did Agott's parents need to mess up to turn something this cute, this precious, into Agott, a kid who nearly gets an innocent person killed? I'm Lucy, and this is how I look IRL, trust me bro. And once again, we are digging into this character. It's a common gag in anime, I sure you know. Parents in anime are either dead, somehow don't exist in the first place, or silent NPCs, or they're FromSoft cheeks-tier bosses.
Oh my god.
You can't reason with them, they kill you in 3 hits, and they punish you so hard for the smallest mistake. Sounds like my parents already. And for Agott, we get the boss fight version. So what kind of sick parenting can turn this into this? It's not like those kinds of parenting oopsies just come out of thin air, so what gives? So Agott comes from the Arclone family, a prestigious family in Witch society. And to no one's surprise, this is Agott's experience with them.
期待してたのに、がっかりだわ、アガット。弟子にはしない。我が一族に才能なき者は必要な。
And honestly, that scene already opens a gate into her psyche. My interpretation is that at some point in her life, she was publicly evaluated, but for some reason, it turned into a failure. Maybe she really failed, maybe something unfair happened, maybe it was more complicated than that, I don't know, but the result is the part that matters. She was deemed unfit. Unfit for her family, unfit for the apprenticeship she wanted, she was labeled talentless by her family. So let's dig deeper into what that resulted in. In humanistic psychology, this points to something called parental conditional regard. As you can imagine from the term, it talks about how a person's sense of self can become more fragile when acceptance feels conditional. When this happens to a child, that child internalizes something called conditions of worth. It's basically the sense that I am worthy if and only if I meet the right standards. So that means Agott learns at a very young age that her belonging is safest when she excels. And honestly, you can see it before Coco even becomes the problem. In the anime, Agott's hostility is the main issue, sure, but you can see the signs of this conditional regard really early. Because hostility aside, Agott is too solitary for her own good. She practices alone. She listens to Qifrey's talks a few steps away from everyone else. She even eats alone. Which sounds small, I know, but I think that matters. Because if you grow up believing your worth depends on being exceptional, other people stop feeling neutral. They become measurement tools. For a child like Agott, comparison is dreadful. Heck, even for adults, it's dreadful. And Agott's answer to that is distance. Is solitude, even though it doesn't fully make sense for the main purpose, recognition. So to answer the question what makes Agott like that, the most competent answer I can give is Agott was loved in the wrong way. And this is what happens when a child is loved by their parents on their terms, while pretending that mindless carrots and sticks can solve parenthood. And you know what's the most thing you can do to that fragile identity? It's to introduce someone exactly like Coco. Honestly, this anime is sometimes just evil. There's actually one anime that I really regret not making a video for. It's titled Journal with Witch. No, I'm not bringing up the anime just because it has witch in the title. I am bringing it up because it shows what could become Agott's bad ending. So the story follows Makio, a 35-year-old novelist who suddenly becomes the guardian of her 15-year-old niece, Asa, after Asa's parents die in a car accident. But the problem is Makio hated Asa's mother, her sister, Minori. This is what Makio said at her sister's funeral.
Asa! 私はあなたの母親が心底嫌いだった。
死んでなお憎む気持ちが消えないことにうんざりしている。だから残念だけど、あなたのことも通りすがりの子供に思う程度にも思い入れることができない。でもあなたは15歳の子供はこんな醜悪な場にふさわしくはない。
And just like that, just like some characters in the anime, I fell for her immediately. And also, goddamn, she's fucking handsome. And by the way, can we just appreciate the power of that first episode? Dude, it was such a strong episode. The reason this matters is not Makio and Asa, of course. It's Makio and Minori. Because Minori is basically older Agott, and her bad ending. Minori was a prideful woman. She was convinced her way of life was superior. She fit well into society. And when she figured out Makio wanted to be a rider, Minori spit on that dream. Makio, just like Coco, was deemed unfit. Makio is weird, okay? Like, she lives weird, she sits weird, she can't handle the most basic things in life like paying taxes, and a chronic introvert. But this is where Minori becomes Agott's bad ending. You see, Makio isn't as nice as Coco. Makio actually leaves Minori alone. And then she succeeds as a rider, she's financially stable, and the people who know her knows that she's a Chad. Even Minori's daughter, Asa, can totally see it. Meanwhile, life starts hitting Minori like a truck. Her identity starts shaking, she carries resentment, self-hatred, loneliness for years. And then she dies. Bad ending. But I think you can see why I'm bringing her here. In my other video talking about Agott, I joke a lot about Coco turning Agott's world into this. But jokes aside, it is true that Coco is basically exposure therapy. Oh, you think magic has to be earned through suffering? Oh, you think outsiders don't deserve magic? Oh, you think love and approval come after flawless performance? At this point, Coco can just breathe and Agott will find fault with it. You breathed too long, Coco. You need to stop breathing, Coco. It's painful to be in Agott's position. Once your self-worth is staked on approval, comparison, and competence, mistakes just stop feeling like information and start feeling like threats. So if Agott doesn't want to end up like Minori, it needs to go. And after trials and tribulations, in episode 9, we see what this girl can actually do. So in episode 9, Coco still won't let Agott rot in peace. So Coco walks to her, talks to her, she returns Agott's shoes, which Coco borrowed before her test. And you can just see that Agott is super conflicted, 7 emotions bundled into one. I mean, yeah, of course, Agott has been super mean to Coco on some occasions, but this bundle of happiness just keeps coming back while accidentally proving Agott wrong every chance she gets. So finally, with 100% honesty, Agott responds.
ずっと気になってた。私に無理やり追い立てられたって、あなたキーフリー先生に言わなかったでしょ。私を責めもしないで、飛び靴を修理してよこすなんて。どうしてなの？あなたの考えてること、全然わからないわ。
This is where I need to give Agott some credit. Yeah, Coco is important. She's the protagonist after all, with all her protagonist crimes. But at the end of the day, Coco just makes it really, really hard for Agott to keep being edgy. Which means Agott still has to be the one who deals with herself. Just like everyone. And the impressive part is, she kinda does. Of course, she doesn't instantly become all smile, but she starts adjusting. She sees the contradiction now. She feels the shame, she knows she was wrong. And instead of running from it forever, she stays close enough to let it change her bit by bit. Well, she still has the chance to. And for someone with her baggage, that's huge. But can we stop here for a second? Character development is cool and all, but all this creates a weird and unusual problem for Agott. If Agott's drive came from her shitty childhood, then what happens if we take all that away? Does that mean Agott lose everything? So the author and illustrator, Kamome Shirahama, gave a pretty lengthy interview at TCAF 2024 in Toronto. But what's the most important is this. There's one answer from her that explains what Witch Hat Atelier is all about. In her own words, we all start out very inexperienced, and then we gain new skills or particular habits that work for us. Before you know it, you're walking down this path, step by step, to really hone your skills. You become an independent pro artist, or a magician in Coco's case. So, Witch Hat Atelier is about get good. But this creates a really important question around Agott. If mastery, get good, is good, then what do we do with someone like this? Because Agott's drive clearly comes from a toxic place. Her ambition is tied to shame, approval, and fear of being abandoned. So is Agott a portrayal of how not to pursue mastery? Is her brand of discipline just wrong? Well then, this is when we need to stop a bit to... without stupidity. Ladies, gentlemen, we are here once again to stop some stupid quotes from tainting my video. And today's victim is this absolute fossil of a quote. Hard times make hard men. Hard men make good times. Good times make soft men. Soft men are just fanboys. Sophisticated. Well, the softer and I guess more permissible version of it is what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But listen, sometimes people do grow from hardship. Sometimes suffering forces you to get good in life. But the worst jackadildo interpretation of this quote is that a tough life or a tough childhood creates a better people. Oh, so Agott needs to be thankful for being humiliated. Repeat after me. Cruelty is not a training arc. Abuse is not a secret ingredient. Tough times make a lot of people die early, Buckethead. And the only reason this quote sounds wise is because everyone's keep interviewing the survivors who made it. Survivorship bias at its worst. Just think further for a sec. For every person who says, my painful childhood made me successful, there are some who end up in cycles of violence. Some never learn how to trust people. Some only know how to solve conflict through fear because fear was the only language their childhood taught them. But this person had a rough childhood. So there are reasons why people want to get good. Some do it for the sake of getting good itself. It is a satisfying journey after all. Some do it out of childlike curiosity, like Coco. Some, like Agott, do it just to survive. But that doesn't mean that everything Agott gained from it needs to go away. Mastery isn't the problem here. Discipline is not the disease. High standards are not the disease. Wanting to be excellent is not wrong. The disease is when excellence becomes the only way you are allowed to feel loved. But the tragedy of Agott is that her upbringing in the prestigious family of witches actively burned her love for magic. Just from a simple fact that Agott was raised to deserve love through magic. And this is why Coco is such a nightmare to her, because Coco also represents the need for mastery, but with a completely different relationship to it. Coco sees magic and is like... Coco looks at this completely mundane magic and is like... But while Agott sees their collective magic in episode 5, Tame a Dragon, and is like... No wonder she grunts all the time. But here's the annoying part about conditions of worth. They don't just disappear because you understand them. It's never that easy. Look, I have multiple degrees in the science of human behavior. And I still catch myself doing the same thing. Checking the numbers. Asking if the video was good enough. If I was good enough. I have shorts with millions of views on this channel. I don't even watch shorts content. I hide them on desktop. I don't open TikTok unless it's for work. I was, and still, making something I didn't even consume. Because it worked. But it makes me enjoy making shorts less and less. So, 1 shorts per week. Max. So this third Witch Hat Atelier video, this is my way of being Coco for a bit. To make something because I actually care. To rant about stupid tough times, make strong man memes because they deserve it. But that's a tragedy, don't you think? Mastery is beautiful, Improvement is beautiful. Taking something seriously is beautiful. But the moment love becomes proof, the thing starts to rot. And then you look left and right and just wonder, why are you even here in the first place?